since we're talking about male infertility.
The first problem arises with acceptance.
People are not ready to share. One is like fertility issues.
It's not like a female where we have to go and check the equality.
Which is chemicals in the environment is also higher than ever before.
So I think usage of genes and things like that, especially when they are actually planning, can be cut down.
He's not able to make his wife pregnant.
Now that we've spoken about male infertility and the factors which affect them, let's talk to Roshni to give us inputs about how nutrition plays an important role. Roshni?
So we are eating more calories than ever before, but yet deficient in nutrients. How can that be possible? That you're eating more food, but you're still not getting enough nutrients for the body. And that's a wrong thing. That's a very wrong. And one of the reasons for this is hyperpalatable food. Hyperpalatable is any food which is chemically designed to keep you addictive. So apple pie will always taste better than the apple. You can't eat, there's that many apples you'll eat, but apple pies you'll eat as much as. This is very, very important when working with infertility, because if you're eating a lot of hyperpalatable food, that reduces your fertility drive. You want to make sure your food is very nutritionally dense, lot of vitamins and minerals, especially zinc, especially certain antioxidants like lutein, certain things like thylakoids which is found in leafy greens. But ask someone how much leafy greens did you have today? Most often the answer is a sprinkle of coriander on top of your food. We are not having, and we should be having much more of that. Besides this, a lot of healthy fatty acids, things which come from nuts and seeds and avocados and olives, we don't consider this as an important part of our diet. Most of our fat is coming from oils and ghees, which is processed. It's not, but nuts and seeds are healthier fats, and you have the fiber with the fats, and you need that. I think nutrition plays a very, very big role. Male fertility, female fertility, there are certain superfoods, we call it from an Ayurvedic perspective, that can further, and there are also certain things which we call them adaptogenic herbs. Adaptogenic herbs are again foods which are very, very potent, like ashwagandha, shatavari, they have a role. I do highly suggest for everyone watching this, please work with an expert. Don't experiment on your body. An expert comes with experience and science. Yeah, so what works for you will not work for someone else. So work with an expert in terms of understanding what your nutritional needs are and what you should be. Interestingly, certain foods, hyperpalatable foods, are also something that promote obesogens. Obesogens are compounds that can put your fetus at the risk of obesity. So what you're eating puts your fetus at the risk of obesity when your fetus is older. And I think that care should be taken in terms of avoiding these obesogens which are also found in
I think we can see a lot of obese kids these days. Is that one of the reasons?
Combination. Obviously the lifestyle, they are growing up in an environment that plays a role. But if you want to start making changes, I think generally for fertility, I do ask parents at least 6 months is a good enough time before you start planning to conceive. Because when a woman is pregnant, the fetus is using her nutritional stores, her calcium, her zinc, her iron. So if your nutritional stores are very, very deprived to begin with, that puts you at the risk.
So you're asking everybody to stay natural.
Stay as close to whole foods as possible.
And since you're already a plant-based nutritionist, can I ask about the chemicals that go into even the natural foods, the unboiled, uncooked foods? There are a lot of chemicals which go into it.
Yeah,
do they also play a vital role, or I mean, even if they do, how do we lessen down their effect
everything?
on us?
You look at meat, you're still getting antioxidants, you're still getting antibiotics, you're getting a lot of exposure to chemicals, hormones, especially sex hormones added to meat and dairy. Yeah, and you're also getting it in eggs. So everything we are eating right now, we are taking in chemicals. I know that Instagram videos makes us feel like only vegetables have chemicals, but really everything you're eating. You want to make sure, at least I talk to parents, I say this, everyone has a little mini garden in their home, meaning some pots and, so some things, especially leafy green vegetables where you're eating the whole thing, they are also susceptible to fertilizers, highest amount of fertilizers. So some things try to grow at home. But besides this, there's a global list, it's called the Dirty Dozen. And Dirty Dozen is a list of 12 vegetables and foods specifically where the maximum amount of fertilizers are used, especially the one where we eat the skin, like strawberries, leafy greens. These try to go organic. These try to avoid the inorganic ones. But there are some like watermelon. It's okay if you get organic, if cost is the only factor, it's okay because you're not eating the skin of the watermelon. So you're not exposing yourself to as many chemicals. Our soil right now, the minerals found in the soil is also depleted. because of which the vegetables and fruits growing in the soil are depleted in certain nutrients, especially iodine, selenium. These are important for your thyroid health, for your overall health, and because we are not getting enough of, the idea is to increase your fruits and vegetables, not further reduce it because you're scared to eat them. Yeah, because we are not getting enough of.
See, cauliflower has lot of endosulfan, and grapes again has lot of endosulfan. I spare at least 15 to 20 minutes to give them a diet advice and exercise. At least as a doctor, we'll have the consultation with the patient directly. We should spare at least 15 minutes for this.
Micronutrients are very important. Like, so whenever my prescription goes out, I think it always contains a part of treatment where it enrich them with a lot of micronutrients like selenium, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin E, because apart from other hormonal treatments to enhance the male fertility, like every dish cannot go without a salt, so every prescription goes with micronutrients. It's very important that we should focus more on the micronutrients because they are the one which are the sperm vitalizers. We should never neglect these micronutrients. So it's very important. But yes, understand nowadays we can't trust whatever we are eating. I myself thought like I have a very good calcium and I did myself, it was like almost like 18. This was not even insufficient, I was deficient. So we don't know what we are eating. So I think we should never trust the outside or packaged food, whatever foods. I always tell my patients to you go out, spend time in cooking, you prepare food for yourself, then only you are sure that what you are eating. If you try to depend on outside food, I think you are in for a, I mean, you are
lot of Ajinomoto in that.
For, yeah,
Ajinomoto is
loss.
again not good for fertility.
So my rule for clients is 80-20 and prepare one meal at least yourself. Don't depend on people to prepare. You should know what you're putting, at least one meal. I know we are living in a very time constrained society, but one meal, make it yourself, eat breakfast, lunch or dinner, and 80% eat at home, 20% give yourself to, because you are a social animal. You will go out, and don't restrict to an extent where you'll stop living your life. So that 80-20 is very important and very easy to achieve, not very difficult. I think all of us only eat out once or twice in a week. If Swiggy, Zomato, delete the apps. At least when you're working on fertility management, make that as a priority.
Stress on even water intake, because hydration is something which is totally neglected. So at least we should tell them 2 to 2.5 liters of water is a must per day, because even detoxification of the body is through water again.
Yeah. Doctor, you were mentioning about cauliflower and grapes and all. They say if you soak it in water like salt for some time, about 10-15 minutes, does it really help?
See, it may help in to certain extent, maybe 10 to 20% of the chemical is removed, 100% we can't clean the chemical which is already imbibed in that. So try to avoid such kind of vegetables and fruits where we are sure that they use such kind of chemicals.
So basically frozen food and packaged food is a big shit.
Never.
I think what is being said is let us be as natural as possible, because anything artificial looks very nice, looks very easy also, but anything good requires a lot of hard work and is difficult. I think slowly if that can be incorporated, overall health is what.
So we have this misconception, healthy food is not going to be tasty. That's really a misconception. All of us globally rotate around 15 recipes. We have top 5 breakfast, top 5 lunch, top 5. All of us do that only. We don't experiment, right? So what I tell my clients is you have your top 15. Every week introduce 2 recipes which you can rotate out, which are healthier options. And once they become your palate, once they taste your palate, they will become your new norm. And it will take you, let's say, another 15 weeks, not even 7 to 8 weeks. And by 7 to 8 weeks, you've changed your entire lifestyle without knowing, or without having to push yourself that I'm following a diet and I can't eat this and I can eat this, because that will become your new norm. So, and work with someone who understands food. I think, recipe curators, there are recipe curators. We have a recipe curator on our team whose only job is to make food tasty. There's no question of then health. I like it, that's why I'm eating it. That's all.
Doctor, is there something unusual you've noticed? You said the fertility rate in males have come down. Something which goes with our lifestyle, anything unusual that you've noticed, some reason, what could be the reason? Like something we've been practicing on a daily basis and it is affecting our fertility without our knowledge.
When you try to visualize the different reasons for a fertility, you have a clear-cut image, what are the possible causes in a different set of societies, probably people coming from a rural setup and from urban setup. And the reasons are entirely different. People are coming from rural setups more commonly are probably infections and by birth or developmental abnormalities. But the people coming from urban society, they're all environmental, all lifestyle stress related. So though the urban societies, we have, because of the lack of awareness, we don't get too much into infections. Because of the awareness, we don't get too much into infections. because of awareness we get ourselves treated very, you know, we don't neglect our infections, we get immunized, we are not exposed to any kind of toxins. But yes, at the same time, what is holding us up is our stress levels, lack of sleep. The studies say that if you travel bike riding for more than 46 hours per week can cause infertility. You can sit more than for 2 hours per day continuously, it can cause infertility. Simple thing like, you know, drinking water in a plastic bottle. Nowadays, people are, you know, moving towards BPA freeze. BPS is used enormously in plastic industries because they are known to, you know, maintain the shelf life of particular food. They are heat resistant, more commonly used in microwave oven packaged foods. And as I told, these are endocrine disruptors. They can, you know, affect the sperm quality. So yes, definitely we have a clear-cut evidence that what can affect. So similarly, as I told you that yes, swimming, coming to that point. Nowadays, most of them, they don't want to get into cold water. We have gone to, the trend is past. Nowadays, you are all warm pool.
Temperature controlled.
Temperature controlled.
Yeah, and
so
we are very happy
God
and
has
comfortable
made
with
an
it.
advantage that our testicles are outside the body because our the testicles requires a temperature which is lesser than the core body temperature. When you kind of, you know, sit for long hours, drive for long hours, you swim in a warm pool, that takes out advantage, and that can lead to infertility. I have a couple of guys who are swim coaches who are suffering themselves from infertility and they don't realize. And we try to, now it is their professions, but effortly make an effort that so that like they spend minimal time and they come out of infertility.
Minimal time as in, doctor, like for instance, forget about a swimming coach,
Yeah.
kids keep going, boys keep going and swimming
Yeah.
like as a part of their class and daily routine.
Yeah.
What is the advice you would like to give them?
I understand that now the warm pool has become the trend, but there's no way we can avoid it. But ensure that as long as possible, it should not be too warm enough. We don't have a specific data on what should be the temperature, ideal temperature and all, but we try to avoid these scenarios. So it's very much, I would say at this stage that we should avoid such, state where we are exposed. Bakery guys working in the chefs, all are exposed to high temperatures.
Drivers.
Yeah,
Drivers.
drivers. So I don't know, but yes, it is their profession. They have chosen it, but we have seen an association, but not a definitive factor to cause infertility. We have seen just an associations. There are no scientific, but there are associations. You cannot tell. Yes, they are
because
bakers.
of this,
They are in chef.
yeah.
They are bakers. Everybody will have infertility. No.
Yes.
Who never know who can get affected.
Majority at
Better to
least.
avoid it will be my message now. That
I
would be
think
it.
that awareness is very important, that
important.
these could be adding to it. So let us not do it. What is the alternative, or what? How can we minimize it? Is probably
Yes,
something
yeah.
that can.
Because swimming pools are quite a norm these days, and parents prefer their kids to go because of the weather conditions and all. They would want the warm pool itself.
So I hope awareness like this helps parents also to understand that it is not the question of.
I was adding on to this, like I told you about DNA fragmentation index, that is damaged DNA which is more, then there will be kind of infertility or repeated abortions in the, even if they conceive and all that. Before, when we started doing DNA fragmentation, it was only for these drivers, smokers and all, it was high. Nowadays we are seeing it is more associated with software engineers. The common thing is laptop. So that's why I usually tell them, don't use it on lap. They say I'm always using it on a desk. I don't use it on my lap, but still they have high DFI because there is electromagnetic radiation which comes through that. So I always tell them, at least try to put a fan beneath, in between you and the laptop, so that the temperature near to your genitals is little on a lower side. So these are small things which we have to inculcate in our daily routine.
Or even
yes.
better use a desktop.
Yes,
rather.
yes.
So how does exercise play a key role in improving your fertility, doctor?
So we always discuss about or kind of tend to share a thing about free radical species, which are probably grasped to everything, starting from your heart attacks to infertility and everything. We have free radical damage, I would say. Smoking can cause free radical accumulation in your body, obesity, age beyond 40 years, and inactivity. All these things can cause free radical. Exercise will probably act as a detoxification. Okay, number one point. Second point, when you exercise regularly, they say, WHO says that at least 45 minutes of brisk walking at least 3 to 4 times in a week is better for you. Exercise can probably, it can normalize the hormonal milieu. It can probably maintain the core internal, functioning systems.
It will increase the blood flow to the
Increase the blood
organs.
flow to vital organs. It increases your sexual health, it increases your fertility health, it increases overall health. Exercise is vital for everything. Probably should say, I would say what is called, it's a holy grail for every possible disease. I think everybody should make a time to embrace a good physical activity in their day-to-day life. Very important.
Dr. Sushma, now how does exercising and maintaining a very healthy lifestyle actually compensate or complement with the medicines you give, and how does it work with fertility?
So whenever we talk about negative emotions or negative behavior, we also work upon physical activity. But what happens is when we stress upon physical activity, there's extreme physical activity also. See, there has to be a balance in everything. So even when you go for yoga, the end is done with where you relax the body, shavasana is done so that your body also relaxes. So when we talk about physical activity, it can be simple things like going for a walk, just going for a walk, or just strolling around, talking about sweat pouring activities. So when that happens, there's a relaxation in the mind, happy hormones are released. So your stress, depression, anxiety, aggression is managed to some extent because you have the clarity to think through things. But nowadays the trend that we are seeing is, even when we talk to our clients and say, you have to go for a walk, you can go to the gym and you hit the gym. What happens is they come and stress out here also because there's extreme working out happening, sweat is pouring, and after that again they are running back. Where are we relaxing?
It's stress plus stress adding on.
So where are we relaxing? When I say relaxing, they say, Mom, I do sit at home. And what do? I'm just checking 2-3 mails. We are stimulated all the time.
Right.
So your stress, anxiety, you forget, but you have not coped with it. So when it comes to male infertility, it's always running at the back of your mind. There's a certain amount of doubt, there's a denial, there are so many things. When you are relaxed, your body is able to respond to things better. So what we are trying to do here is talking about overall health, not just one aspect of health. So we have this concept where you exercise, happy hormones are released, you are able to cope better. And at this point, there's one more point that I would like to make where we are talking about the vagus nerve relaxation. I think, Roshni, this is what we were talking about when we discussed about infertility also, right? Would you want to continue?
Very important. So what we think of when we adrenal fatigue is what.
No, but what is this vagus?
So I'll tell you where vagus nerve stimulation comes in. Adrenal fatigue leads to shutting down of everything. Your digestive health shuts down, your reproductive health shuts down, because adrenal fatigue is when you're stressed over the limit which is normal, which we should be stressed about. And at least when you're looking at it from a biological perspective, you have an animal running behind you, you're running, that's causing stress, right? But then the animal goes away and the stress hormones goes down. Here the stress is in every form. An email comes, stress. A text message from the spouse, anything can trigger stress, right? What is stress? Stress is when you have multiple thoughts in your head, too much of thought traffic, which is very good for creativity. Now when I'm talking to you, I want ideas to flow. So I want thoughts to come. I can't be in a thoughtless state. The ability for me to go from hundreds of thoughts to zero thoughts, that state of zero thoughts is called meditation. So there's this complete meditation and then this complete stress. Now if I decide that right now I want to reduce my adrenal fatigue, that means going to a zero thought state, and I tell myself, let me wait, sit down, close my eyes. And while I'm closing my eyes, I'm thinking no thought, no thought, no thought. The thought of no thought is a thought. Yeah, so to get to that state is very, very difficult. How do we easily get to that state? That is vagus nerve stimulation activities. Example, if I'm chanting, when I say any chant, I'm going to use the word Om now, but doesn't have to be like a Christian goes to a choir, or you're doing the namaz, any form of chanting, or your bhajan. When you're chanting, you can't chant and think at the same time. So religiously or spiritually, that's an activity that helps you get to a thoughtless state, reduces your adrenal fatigue, stimulates the vagus nerve. Yeah, so vagus nerve is this nerve which, it's a cranial nerve which when stimulated, it's connecting your entire system, it's connecting your entire body, it's managing your hormonal flow, it's managing your digestive health, multiple systems of the body. And for me to be able to stimulate that nerve is trying to go to that thoughtless state. Chanting can be one activity, there are various activities. You have vagus nerve stimulators, which is really the stimulating machines which stimulate the vagus nerve. But you all can discuss if you all know any other form.
But just to
coming back to vagus, vagus stimulations. So we have different systems, parasympathetic, which is akin to vagus, and sympathetic activity. We have seen coming to fertility perspective of sympathetic or like anxiety or getting stressed. A lot of guys who come to me, doctor, I think they would have referred for erectile dysfunction. and he has a very specific, situational erectile dysfunction. Only those fertility period, he gets hands off. I mean, I just can't do it. So this again a stress. So stress and sympathetic activity. So it's like you are front of a lion and you can't just get erotic thoughts. Only thing is still like running. So something like that. So always when you are at peace of mind, that's parasympathetic. So parasympathetic overactivity is always good for your fertility, always good for your sexual health. So they say that, I mean, of course, actually, I totally agree with her. Meditations, keeping on a single frequency can be a game changer. Otherwise, you are going to see a lot of effects when you are trying for a baby. You can end up with erectile dysfunctions which can affect your fertility outcome.
One analogy I'd like to give here, because when you said, so when we talk about meditation even to our clients, obviously the answer is it's not happening. I'm trying, but it's not happening. And we feel we have to do meditation throughout the day. So if I want to, and we are in the gym right now, if I want to build my bicep muscle, I'm going to come, I'll lift the dumbbell, I'll do a few sets, I'll leave the dumbbell and I go. And I do this 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes daily. I'm not carrying the dumbbell around with me, right? So I'm doing it for a certain time of the day, I'm leaving it and I'm doing my regular activities for the remaining time. But within a few months, you see the development of the muscle. The same thing is with mental health. You don't have to throughout the day tell yourself, don't be angry, don't be stressed. Do it for 5 minutes a day. Do something for 5 minutes a day that helps you reduce the adrenal fatigue or get you to a parasympathetic state. 5, 10, 15 minutes per day. But over time, your personality trait becomes of the person that does not take as much stress. External stress you can't control. How your manifestation of physical manifestation to that stress is, that is in your control, and that has to be daily training. It's like a mental gym. 10 minutes in the morning, practice meditation. 10 minutes in the morning, practice breath work. 10 minutes, do something that helps you get to a thoughtless state. And then over time, you just become that personality and it becomes easier for you to switch to a parasympathetic to sympathetic.
When actually a person is faced with male infertility, so many inputs for a person to process takes a lot of time, because they are not in the mindset and they don't have that. So just to sit when they go for a walk or something, nowadays general complaints is I can't sit idle, because it is considered as a waste of time. I have to be productive 24/7. So when we talk about physical fitness, at the end of physical fitness, that 5-10 minutes the person has to sit, learn to sit without doing anything. N number of thoughts come and go, that's okay. You start off like that and you allow it, like they say, the constant term we use is passing, let the clouds pass. You allow it to pass and you sit with it. When you start doing it, you start learning to cope with whatever negative emotions, or what is the next step, what is the solution, what can I go ahead. Because like the doctors mentioned, it is something that can be managed, yes, but if it cannot be managed, the solutions are different. The way the person has to look at both the issues is completely different. So physical fitness will help the person in engaging in an overall fitness and also give the coping strength to manage the situation he or she is currently in. So it is extremely vital to go ahead with a very healthy lifestyle.
So basically, having good food and having a very active lifestyle definitely goes a long way in boosting male fertility, as we'll say. And apart from that, having a very stress-free life is what is important. Now we enter the Q&A session. Before we started the podcast, we had asked our viewers to send in their queries if they had any. So we'll have our doctors explain. Any of you can, I will read out the questions to you. Any of you can just answer the question. My first question is, do you really think that impotence and infertility are the same thing?
See, infertility and impotence are not same. Impotence is usually for ejaculatory or erectile dysfunction, what we say, but erectile dysfunction could be a reason for infertility. But once they come up with, infertility is mainly due to the sperm quality and sperm number issue. It's mainly sperm issue. So totally a little different but interrelated.
Oh, okay. And my second question is, in our parents' generation, they didn't really talk about all this, and male infertility was almost never spoken about. But today, I keep hearing my friends and people talk about this. Is it really the case that it's become more of a problem today than it was before?
Yes, definitely, because the more a problem is discussed, we feel the problem is significant. Okay, so that's very, very thing. Yes, very importantly, now the society has become more open-minded. They are open to discuss anything. Now, that's because of our proactive nature. And it's very important to also realize that male fertility should be discussed, because if not discussed, it can have devastating implications on the family life and society life also. And we know that considering our current lifestyles, the fertility, what you call, it's falling every year by 1 to 2%. It's quite alarming, I would say. And what we used to be in the past, now we are studying a different critical platform, very sensitive platform. If not considered, we might another next decade or so, we'll be having a more serious issue here. So it's very important for us to discuss, and I would say that nobody should feel stigmatized or inhibited to discuss, because at the end of the day, if any discussion is for your benefit, it should be discussed, and there's nothing wrong in that. Be it, there are a lot of online platforms are there which can give you a number of information regarding your problem, but old patients are always better than a doctor, I would say. It's always better to seek a friend who has gone through the same stage and get hands-on experience, whatever you would say, and to have a better understanding of your problem. So Shushma, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's also the lifestyle changes that has happened over a period of time, right? It's the lifestyle changes and also the awareness. Earlier, probably not that many people came. Like you mentioned, they're actually coming forward and asking, okay, what is happening? So it could be a combination of both that we are seeing the number of cases going up. One could be the lifestyle, second is of course awareness. And yes.
It's also that parents are deciding to have kids much later now versus before. So people used to, obviously you're much more fertile in your early 20s versus late 30s, but everything is shifting now towards later.
So my third question is, Doctor, I want to know actually what is the difference between male and female infertility? Isn't it the same?
Male and female infertility both are different. Male infertility is mainly due to the sperm issues or erectile or ejaculatory dysfunctions. Female infertility is mainly on ovulation or tubal factor or a uterine factor, where your uterus is at problem, or you are not ovulating regularly, or your tubes are blocked, or there may be some issues with your tubes, or there may be some hormonal issues in you, even the egg quality issues as you get aged. So age related changes leading to infertility is there for both male and female.
But there's a huge difference between both.
Of course, both are different.
My fourth question is, I really don't think men are responsible for not being able to have a child. Isn't it more a women's problem that they are not able to get pregnant? Like something is lacking them or not? That is the question.
Previously, what it used to be, we used to always find faults with the females for infertility. But now, as with advancement in diagnostics and treatment modalities, we have seen that more and more men are responsible for contributing a subfertility problem than the females. The female the ratio of male and female has kind of almost doubled now. I say it's predominantly male fertility, and because when you tend to dig in for the possible reasons, we have seen men are having more faults than the females. So male fertility is definitely a major factor in overall subfertility, I would say.
Just that it is surfacing now.
Yes.
And women have we always been taking the blame for years now. So my next question is, I want to know if there's any such conditions for males where there is no cure only. I wouldn't know how to analyze this, but that's the question.
It means whether there is some condition where you can't have any treatment for that. There are some genetic conditions where we can't treat them because it is inborn, it is genetic, where our hormones or our injections or any kind of treatment may not help, even surgeries will not help there.
I would like to add a couple of points for that. So there are two ways. Nowadays, see, when you see a parameters, sperm parameters, either it has to be 0 or a good parameters. Now, the ratio, the percentage of persons coming with 0 sperm count is pretty less. But now we see a lot of patients coming with sperm parameters which are neither here or neither there. They are just in the midline, which cannot be sufficient to conceive naturally. And surprisingly, we are unable to see what actually the problem is. And nowadays we are researching more into the micro or molecular levels, which are still in the research process, where we are yet to know what's the actual problem. So in those cases, no matter whatever you treat them, they don't improve the parameters. In that case, you don't have answers. And there are certain conditions where they come with 0 sperm count, everything seems to be fine, is well developed, hormones parameters are fine, testes is all normal size, but still we don't have sperms. So there are two factors where we don't have yet an answers, and we still are looking for possible reasons as to why. But yes, male fertility research is still evolving. We are still in the probably in the infant stage. There is a long way when it comes to research, and definitely the coming days we might have a reason, solutions for that. But as of now, when we don't find treatment outcome, we don't have answers. So that is something which is unknown about.
But I've also heard that taking these protein powders and that they also influence male infertility. Is that true, doctor?
Yeah, I don't know. So there are certain products which can get metabolized into kind of estrogen forming products, and estrogen is always a deterrent to either male fertility or also the sexual problems. So I would say to some extent this can also contribute.
Can you tell me if masturbation can make me infertile?
Infertility is a couple problem. It's not a single man problem. Masturbation cannot cause infertility unless you practice it every day, because every day when you suppose you are in a pregnancy making journey, conception journey, and when you masturbate every day or very frequently, you are exhausting your sperm count, which may not be there at the right time. So I would say this is a very grey question. I would say we can't really explain about it, but there are a lot of people where they, with the hope that they conceive, the chance of conception is pretty high, they have intercourse every day.
Actually, that is what
every day. The moment the wife stops menstruating, they start from day 5. It goes until the next month. By the time from day 5 to day 4, the sperm count is exhausted. What you have to have a sperm count for fertility, we would have exhausted well before. It will also contribute. That's probably a lack of awareness, lack of knowledge about the thing. So I would probably say that when you involve in activity, should be always limited to that fertility zone, not the other days also. Masturbation will never cause infertility because the sperms are formed every day. So you can't, it's no way it can cause infertility.
My next question is, I don't plan on having children, but I have this fear in me that I am infertile. My sex life might be very bad. Is that true?
Sex life and fertility are different. See, unless you are unable to do a sexual intercourse with a proper erection, that is your sex life. Infertility could be your sperm problem. It may not be the same erection problem. We had already discussed about it. Yeah, it is the same thing. It is not, both are not same.
So they are two different things.
You can be sexually normal, but still you can be infertile.
So I will also add to this, fertility concern and a sexual concern. They're all post-marriage problems. Now, I can't say it is right or wrong. There are a lot of people who does indulge in the premarital, sexual activities. They realize that they have a deficiency. I don't know if this is good or bad, but they do come to know. Instead of, a lot of cases become more apparent because they do indulge in activities. And fertility and, as I told you, erectile dysfunctions or sexual problems are post marriage problems. I think it's waste of time to think about that I have a problem, I have infertility problem, I have a sexual problem. It's a waste of time, because only when you are taken the exams and you fail, you fail. Without taking exams, you feel that you failed. I think there's no logic behind that, such kind of thinking.
So there's no need to be anxious
There's
about
no need to be anxious about it.
Yeah. My next question is, when I was around 27, I actually got STD. Now I'm 33 and I want to have a child with my wife, but I think I may be infertile because of STD. Should I be worried?
Definitely. If nowadays most of the STDs are treatable, and we've seen that if these STDs or infections are identified much earlier and you start treatment, infertility can be avoided in the future. So
very rarely, if you don't seek help or treatment early, then it can damage your reproductive organ, the blockage of the tubes, vas deferens or ejaculatory duct, where the sperm should actually come out. That can cause issues, infertility issues.
Now that we've learned about male fertility and all the factors which affect them, we'll ask the doctors about their final take about path to parenthood. Dr. Shashi?
The path to parenthood should be very much simple and very much clear. This is different ways. One is like embarking on gaining a knowledge. One is like you have an awareness about a problem. That comes from different portals. It can be your friends or professional doctors who is treating you, and also one is getting awareness. Then if you have a problem, approach a doctor, then take the right treatment. Next is then try to expect the desired results. All these are not one by one, but they are all parallel. They are all the same, what you call practice in the same time, be it your improving your lifestyle, taking a treatment, and also be in a right mental strength to achieve the desired results. So I think it's very simple: awareness, approach, and actually accept the results. Because we believe that we have a treatment for this. Male infertility is not a dead end. There are treatment solutions for that, and we can try holistic treatment, be it medical management, we have a surgical management. Definitely there is a hope for male infertility, and people can conceive and then have the babies with our own genetical lineage. That will be a primary motto to kind of to treat them. But I think we should not really be bogged down by that. A lot of patients come to us, doctor, is it a dead end? Do you have a treatment solution for that? Yes, we do have treatment solution for that. Having the right amount of knowledge and meeting the right doctor can probably is a solution for all your problems.
I'll add on to your conclusion. Yes, it's a shared journey. It is not just a male or female, it is both. Either male is responsible or female is responsible, or sometimes both of them can be responsible for the fertility issues. And nowadays we don't even call it as infertility, we call it as fertility problems. So that means there are treatment for majority, as he said. Very few maybe we can't help them, but still there are alternative ways to go ahead with their fertility. So of course reach your doctor at the earliest so that you get your best treatment at the earliest.
Dr. Sushma, what would you like to add?
Path to parenthood is not a single person's journey. It is the partners, the parents, the society. There are a lot of people involved. So whenever there is a challenge or a problem, the first thing that I would like to tell them is to reach out. You do have support groups, you do have people like us who are there to help, guide. And the most important thing is to see to it that your mental health is also maintained at that time. Everything that goes into your body matters, whether it is your food, the same way even the thought that goes into your body matters a lot. So every single thought that enters your head has a way to manage yourself. So why not give healthy stuff into ourselves? And in case you're finding it difficult, for example, some of us have really good mental strength but we have forgotten how to use it. Some of us have a little low mental strength. So we will guide you on how to manage better. Either we tell you, okay, you have it there, it's there, don't forget, or we guide you on how to make it a bit strong. But the main thing that most of us, all of us are here trying to tell you is there is help, there is management, and not to be bogged down by it.
Roshni, would you like to
I
add
think
something?
this panel is proof that it has to be a multifaceted approach. It can't be medical only, it can't be psychological only, it can't be only nutrition, it can't be only lifestyle, but that combination works. Yeah. And mostly when I'm seeing a lot of parents struggling with fertility problems, they generally think, okay, let me just try the medical approach. No, you have to work on all aspects, and that's healthy, not only in terms of fertility, but makes your process easier. You have a counselor to reach out to, you have problems to discuss with regard to mental health aspect. You know what to eat to give you the best quality of eggs, sperm, and put your fetus at the healthiest possible environment. I think that combination is very, very important. So anyone listening to this, work with an entire ecosystem in terms of fertility problems.
I think you've given very, very valuable insights. I think our viewers would have definitely benefited watching this show. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for the time you've given to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've learned a lot about male infertility. In case you want to know more details, please attend our event which is happening on the Palace grounds. For more details, please see your screen. It is all there on your screen. Thank you so much.